It's not telling me anything. It's spinning. Don't tell me it's not going to go live. Oh, what's going on?
We're live. I see
Oh,
you.
okay, great. Hey guys, we'll play the intro and we'll get started. We're excited about my show today with Pink Bella Aloha, and yeah, this is going to be a.
Okay, we've lost. I can't hear you now, Rob. You did have sound. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. It's because it was playing the intro. It goes out when it plays the intro. That's why. That's the only reason why. But hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited about today's show. This is a day before I leave for Florida, so it'll be fun to do a show before, because I'm not going to be doing shows like this, like sitting down behind my desk for about 10 days, which that means I'll probably be trying to get a lot of coverage from the conference. But today we're going to be talking about Florida motherships, the UAP task force and the Gulf Coast global updates, crystal tablets, and the Galactic Akashic records. Pink Bella's going to be, it's going to be amazing. And a little bit more about my guest, Pink Bella, deep dives into Akashic and Galactic records for clarity, soul mission guidance, ascension way shower for the starseeds, light workers, and 144,000, higher self liaison, quantum dimensional health healer, and 22 chakra meridian system, starseed origins, and galactic light councils, dragon activations, and divine goddess activations. Man, I can tell it's I was going to say I can tell it's a full moon, because things are kind of wonky. But Pink Bella, thanks so much for coming back on. How is everything, and how are you?
It's been wonky for me too. Great. I'm really excited to be here. I hardly slept last night. I don't know how everybody else did. I was woken up at like 4 a.m. I have a feeling there's a big X-class flare coming, because that's kind of how I was. I was like on high alert. Didn't matter what I took. Didn't matter what I did. Could not get back to sleep. So if anybody else is like that, that's why I was letting Rob know, everybody, that there is by the end of this month, we're going to have 4 planets retrograde, and one of the big planets that's going retrograde through this full moon is Saturn. I think it's a day or two after. So Saturn and Jupiter are the biggest planets in our solar system simulation. And so we really feel it. And so if we think about the dark and the light, Jupiter kind of aligns with the light, and Saturn's a little bit more the dark side. So yeah, just prepare everyone. Like, the full moon is officially in Capricorn, and Capricorn energy can be associated with the devil card in the tarot. I believe that's correct. And so there could be a lot of shenanigans going on for maybe the next 48 hours. So everybody just be on high alert.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Rob? Are you excited about your trip?
I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. I mean, and it's a lot, to put together. I mean, I didn't realize I was going to be gone for 10 days, but I mean, I will be gone for 10 days. So I'm just trying to make sure I have enough funds to go down there with. And then, I want to make sure I'm just prepared completely. I don't want to make sure I take my toothbrush, shavers, like anything I need to get by for 10 days. So I don't have to buy it on the road,
Absolutely,
so, I mean, that sucks, when you leave and then you have to buy stuff on the road. So it's just a little bit of hectic right now. It's a little bit chaotic, but I mean, I'll have everything done. And I have one more show tonight too. I have a show at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, but I'll manage. I always do, I always get stressed out, that's just how I am.
Well, it's a lot, because you're not just going on vacation. You're going to be doing streaming and stuff. And you know what? What just came in is you can post some maybe you'll do some interviews while you're there, and you can post those and ask for some donations around that as well. So that would
most definitely. That's one thing I'm really looking forward to getting, is a lot of side interviews, maybe some interviews from the beach, or like
deep dives with the people when they're not on they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and for the people that come across this, if you ever want to see the footage from last year's conference, all that footage is still available that I got from last year. It's on my Odyssey channel, because I had synced on my YouTube videos to Odyssey, so you guys can go check out my Odyssey but yeah, so and it might be on Rumble, but I know it's on Odyssey for sure. But there's people already asking for readings in the audience. Like there's but we'll get to that soon, guys. But like we're gonna cover topics first, you know, and then we'll get to all that. How's it going for you? What's going on?
Well, just the energy's been intense. It's been intense since the beginning of the month, and we didn't talk about this because we were at the end of June. So both Canada and the U.S. have their birthdays, their astrology birthdays, like Canada Day and July 4th, within 4 days of each other. So everybody, Canada and the U.S. are both Cancer. They're both Cancer energies in astrology, and I already felt the intensity around Canada Day on the 30th. And I did a little dive in on Rumble, I think on the Tuesday or the Wednesday for your July 4th. And the crazy thing is that what came in was, this is just going to be general for everyone. And I know you guys are going to a conference with a lot of people, but in general, be cautious about just going to really large crowd events right now, because there seems to be some sleeper cell beings that get activated and cause problems. So that was one of the things that came in. And then the other thing that came in, it was specifically, I was looking at LA. I wanted to check in to see what was going on with LA. Like, you know, had they, you know, were they still protesting, with that kind of thing? And what specifically came in was everyone to stay away from the beach on that day.
Wow.
Luckily, there wasn't a lot, but when I looked later, there was, I think, some people at Newport Beach that got taken out by a riptide or something. I don't have all the details, but it did happen on July 4th. So I think the dark, you know, the Dark Alliance is working overtime to create havoc everywhere we go. They're not going to give up. We're in the thick of it right now. I was given the message that July and August, they're really going to ramp up the craziness. So just everyone be on high alert. Like if you have an intuitive message to not go to a really large outdoor festival, then don't go, because a lot didn't happen on July 4th, but a couple things happened the day before. Like there was a big thing that happened in Chicago, and there was some stuff that happened in LA, and there was also something that happened in New York. And they were all at big events. One of them was an outdoor event in New York, and then the other one was a music festival. So just listen to your intuition. Plus, you know, the thing is that if you are going to go somewhere, you're very like, I'm a warrior, well, then say a prayer and set intentions for everybody there that nothing happens. But they're going to try and use big events because they know it's summer, right? They know it's summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. And unfortunately, North America, both Canada and the US, are kind of on the top of their list to confuse everyone. But there are. So, you know, Rob, I don't know if you've heard, like there's been these things the last couple months where people just drive into crowds. Have you heard about any of that?
No, I haven't heard that.
And they've actually, when I pulled cards on it and others have looked into it as well, they're like sleeper cells. They're like MK Ultra, and they get triggered to go do something. Yeah. And when they interview the individuals afterwards, they don't even remember what they did or what happened.
Yeah. I was going to say, good thing my conference is inside, you know.
That's right.
90% of it is inside. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some events out on the beach, but most of it's like in a contained area, you know, which
you've got enough high vibe people there. But I was thinking more, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to target not so much like a festival, like what you like, you know, the conference. They're trying to target these outdoor events. Right. So like people going to an outdoor festival or that kind of thing, because what happens at those outdoor festivals is a lot of people are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and there's garbage everywhere. And then it opens up this energy of a really low vibration. So when I looked at the event in New York, which had been, I think it may have even been at Central Park. I didn't get a chance to really see where it was, but the whole area where it happened was it was horrible. Like we all know, if we've ever been to like an outdoor beach event or an outdoor, you know, concert in the summer, people just drop stuff everywhere. And that garbage, it opens up like the potential for something to happen. So just be on high alert. Like we're not through it yet. There's still a lot of stuff going on for sure.
Oh yeah, I would say that. But we're kind of in the thick of it, you know. I would say
we are. It's kind of, that's what they said. Like this summer is like we're in the thick of it, and we need to be on high alert. Everybody needs to be paying attention for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and we could talk a little bit more deeper about that when we go over to Rumble, because, like, like, who knows, like,
I agree.
there's some things I would like to touch on, especially with like the stuff that's going on overseas. I think that has I think that's a reason for everybody to be even more so, or is the what, like, I mean,
I just got my God bumps, so that's a yes. That's affirmative.
Yeah, not just
It's
like
all
from an
connected.
interdimensional, like a 3D level too,
Yeah.
So it's like
it's all connected. Like things happen in 3D, but there's a bigger force as well. By the way, so one of my superpowers is I get super nauseous when either a client comes to me connected to the Dark Alliance, like they might have something attached to them, right? Or and this is something that came on last year, or what am I thinking about? Like I started to understand more about the archons. What if they were trying to access my energy through something? I would get super nauseous. So an hour ago, I'm in my apartment. I got majorly nauseous. Like it was bad, and it wasn't connected to our show. And apparently, and we can look into this more in Rumble too. Apparently, there was one of their ships in the area.
Wow.
And so my team came in and they adjusted me because it was bad. Like I got really, really, really nauseous. Like it just came over me. So I asked my team to kind of come in and I said, they're not scanning for me, are they? And they said, no, they were actually scanning for like their people to take them away. So, but it was bad. And I didn't, you know what, Rob? I didn't even know that there were even some of their ships here. I had no idea. So we're dealing with that too. Yeah.
Do you think it's like a reptilian ship or something like that? Or
I asked, and I heard they shared with me that that ship had like multiple dark beings on there, and I just think about like these movies where these things come along and they just pick up like they're picking up beings to take home, but they weren't looking for any of the light workers or starseeds, which was good. And that threw me. Like I didn't have any idea that they had access to bring any ships here or that they had any ships here.
Wow, that's so interesting. Like I totally agree. Yeah, wow, that's
So after 5 minutes they were gone. But what I want to do when we look at the topics and the ships that are showing up in Florida, I want to see who they belong to. So I want us to ask if they're part of the, let's just call it the White Alliance versus the Dark Alliance. Like, who are they working for?
Yeah. Well, we were going to cover Florida, and it's cool that we're covering Florida today because, I will be in Florida. So, I'm going to have a lot of time over the next few days, to for example, like some lady was in the Full Disclosure Now chat this morning because there's a Telegram group for it. And she said she wanted to know if there was any hotels. And I was like, well, I'm going to be on the scene, so I can look for you. I was like, I'll do a scan of like what hotels are still available for everybody. And then I'll check back in with the Telegram group and let people know where people can go that's kind of close to the resort. You don't want to get a resort that's like 20 miles away from the, so
that's nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah, mostly people want to be near the Serrata because that's where everything's happening, But I mean, So I figured, so I can get a scene of what's going on interdimensionally and 3D. I can kind of gauge the whole area and kind of see what it's like energetically and what it's like.
Maybe they'll all decloak and you'll see them as well, like you saw them last year. That's what I mean. Like,
that's what I was going to say too. I want to really do some UFO night watches on the beach.
Yeah.
I wish I had a pair of night vision like my friend Missy has. She has those night vision goggles. Those would be amazing.
Well, maybe somebody at the conference speaking or something will bring some with them. So when I did some research yesterday, I just asked like, where are all the UFO sightings this past week? Like, where are the hot spots? And a couple of them came up with Florida. And I thought, well, that's so cool because you're going to Florida anyway. So this is a perfect time for us to look at like what's been happening. And then you've got some stories from other events that have happened in the past as well, including last year.
Well, I can go over that now. So I had to have ChatGPT remind me of this, and like people like Jason in my chat will know about this. Like where it all started in Florida was like the Gulf Breeze sightings, and this became made the Gulf side of the Florida a hotspot for UFOs. And it started when 1987, when Ed Walters claimed to photograph multiple crafts near his home. Starting in 1987, witnesses reported a craft with bright lights hovering silently with physical and radar confirmations. And this was such a big case that they covered it on Art Bell. Back in the day, they covered it multiple times. The Gulf breeze sightings. It was something that was that everybody kind of knew about. And then I guess over time, I guess the Gulf breeze became a hub for seeing UFOs, but one thing I'd like to know is, are they military, or are they UFOs? Are they good or bad? That's what I'd love
and
to.
I'm also now we know, so that was with Art Bell, and now we know, hey, fast forward to 2025. So how interesting is it that Florida seems to be the hotbed of activity right now? Right.
Yeah.
As well as, and I had a geography lesson today, because immediately that's why I put the Gulf up. So immediately when I was given, there's been mothership sightings. So motherships are the massive ships, right? And they they cloak and they uncloak at certain times, for those who don't know. And so I just immediately thought off the coast of Texas, but apparently the Gulf goes all the way over to Florida, which I didn't even realize, right? So that's the thing. So it's in all areas, but it's interesting how Texas and Florida are the hotbeds right now. And I'm almost wondering as well why they're in those two locations.
What else I found out, I did some research, is I found out there's multiple hotspots in Florida. So Tampa Bay, and that's right around where I'm going to be at the hotspot. There's recent reports of triangle crafts, orbs, plasma-like lights hovering over water, patterns of craft appearing over suggest bases under the Gulf of Mexico. Then there's also reports of fast-moving orbs and cigar-shaped craft over Orlando, Lake Mary. That's where James Rink's conference is going to be in October. And then there's also St. Augustine and Cocoa Beach sightings of orange orbs and craft entering, exiting the ocean. So USOs, unidentified submerged objects. So it seems like, why, I don't know why Florida is a huge hub, but it seems to be,
Yeah, and I also picked up, so besides the mothership that's been seen in Fort Myers in this last week, so that's obvious, that's military. Then the other one I believe was Tampa as well. I got Tampa and St. Petersburg. Is that where you guys are going to be? You'll be in St.
I'll be in St. Pete.
Okay, so that's where they've been around, is Tampa and St. Petersburg this last week, as well as the Everglades. And then there's also been reports that there's been a UAP task force put together as well. So I wanted to so let me just look and see what came in about the mothership. So it's been seen hovering over the Fort Myers area with multicolored lights, and multiple residents have saw it and took video, but the videos have been scrubbed.
Wow.
But that information ended up out there anyway, and it happened actually during a lightning storm. There were lightning storms. So one of the questions as well that came forward is we should look to see if they used that to multidimensionally come in and go out. Because I don't think that they're always there. I think that they're cloaking and coming in and doing whatever they need to do and then leaving. So
yeah. So one thing else I found was it says many experiencers and researchers believe there's underwater bases in the Gulf of Mexico and off the Atlantic coast. It says, with the USOs, the unidentified. Basically, that's why because they've seen craft entering and exiting the water without creating waves. Witnesses report boaters and fishermen near Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, and Tampa are seeing this all the time. It's becoming a thing. So,
I believe they have beach cams, right? So I've seen it too, where people have grabbed the clips of the beach cams. I'm going to say
maybe what I think is maybe there's one giant mothership in that area, like you saw, and then there's smaller craft that are coming out of the mothership, and they're communicating with a base that's underwater, and they're going from air to water. That would only make sense, I don't know.
Yeah, I just got my gob bump. So you're onto something, Rob. You're onto something.
That's
so cool. Do we want to look at the mothership that's in around Fort Myers? Do we want to ask who it belongs to? Is it the White Alliance or the Dark Alliance?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. The Galactic Akashic records are open. So I got I'll just pull a couple of cards. We got the Queen of Cups. We have the Knight of Pentacles. So all positive cards, and the Eight of Pentacles. So all positive cards. So they're definitely, it's connected to the white hats, the white alliance, whatever we want to call them. And like, this is actually about like they're gathering data. So they're doing surveillance and they're gathering data as well. And I would say this would be like Knight of Pentacles connected to the military.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So that makes sense, right? Glad. I don't want to see that it's a Dark Alliance mothership. We don't need to have that. Right. Maybe some clarifiers about, are they okay? What was that? That they came in and out maybe of the lightning storm? Like, are they doing like an interdimensional entry, or is it just hanging out right now for whatever reason?
Jason had a question, but it's not related to Florida, but it's he says, will the task force get a full tour of Area 51 or Wright-Patterson Air Force Base? They just got the green light. See, I feel like if they're getting the green light, they probably moved everything out of those places and they have it somewhere else, because I don't think they're going to give away anything. I really don't. Like,
I agree. Yeah, but we'll look at that for sure. That's a great question, Jason. So I pulled the Ten of Pentacles, which is about whatever they're doing there, it's for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah.
So this is all about like celebration. So whatever they're doing, it's like they're almost in a way like protecting the area and gathering information. And the military absolutely got the magician. The military absolutely knows what's going on. So that's super interesting. So at least it's positive. No dark alliance ship, so that's good. And you know what? I'm getting my goblins. This is just channeling in. They're letting me know it's a hot spot because it was a hot spot for the Dark Alliance.
Oh, so they're trying to balance
monitoring that whole area to make sure that nobody's popping in and out.
Are you thinking abductions or something?
That was part of it. And I think you're onto something. I think that they're like, we don't know what's under the ocean. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't know who's under the ocean or what's going on. Right? And I actually heard, maybe you've done a show about it, that there's another level below our ocean floor.
I haven't heard that. That's interesting. Yeah. I've heard this this guy. I know you know who he is. Paul Wallace from The Fifth Kind. You know, he's written book. He talks about this this thing in Africa. It's called the Mammy Wata tradition or whatever. And basically what it is it's these women report getting abducted off beaches and they get taken to undersea bases where they're used for hybridization. But they said that, like, you know, a couple of them said they were treated like very nicely. Like they just were like, you know, like this one girl was missing for 3 years and she didn't want to tell her family, but then she finally told her family, and she said that she was treated very well by whoever was doing this. They just wanted her to hybridize. And, you know, and I always found that story kind of always stuck with me, you know.
And I'm getting this heaviness in my chest. So even though they treated her nicely, it wasn't for the betterment of humanity.
I agree. Because I don't think any woman should be used against her, you know, for that hybridization, you know, unless she was like absolutely volunteering for it. And I don't think any of those.
I'm going to go to the Galactic cards and just pull a couple of the Galactic cards and see who they are. But I've been to Africa, and Africa's got a lot of dark reptilian energy.
Well, you know what's so interesting about that, you know, Credo Mutwa, the African shaman who did that show with David Icke back in the day, he said that's where the reptilians first came and set up base, and they hybridized the existing humans that were there. He said before that we were telepathic and we had like more abilities, but they dumbed us down kind of.
I'm getting nausea. That's my super. Maybe that's why I was turned on today. Getting nauseous, just you talking about. So I traveled through Africa.
That's amazing.
No, but I didn't have a clue. Didn't know about shielding. Didn't know about, you know, wearing black crystals for protection. Like, I knew nothing. A blonde girl in Africa, not a good thing. But I will tell you, my nervous system was on high alert the whole time I was there. And it's no wonder, like looking back on it now, like they set up, I feel like they've chosen, we talked about this before, like the Game of Risk, they've chosen these various areas on the planet where like, this is our area. We're going to plant all of our stuff here. You all can have North America, and we're going to plant ourselves here, right? So anyway, I got the Orion, which is from the Galactic Wars, and that's like one of the Dark ET cards. Black League patterning, but it says in the past.
What's that mean? What's Black League patterning?
Well, I'm just like when I don't have a lot of dark ET cards in here, but when the Orion ones come in, it's about like the Galactic Wars and it's about the past, like when the Anunnaki and everyone seeded everything. So it does say it's from the past. I would say Black League patterning is very much connected to the Dark Alliance, like it just that they and probably connected to our DNA. Like, isn't it interesting? Or maybe we can talk more about this on Rumble, but Africa as well has always been the playing ground for testing certain things out.
As a matter of fact, let's do that. We'll go to Rumble now. So okay. Guys, we're gonna go over to Rumble so we can have a better show because we got some people in here now. So and then I just wanted to have something on YouTube so like people will know to go to Rumble. So we're